I am going to tell you one of the finest stories. And the story is about freedom, freedom from exploitation. And the freedom from exploitation is the story of life of man. If you look at the stories all over the world, the novels, storybooks, the poems, they all talk about problems and the solution to get over that problem is the stories, the poems, the literature. The literature that we have in the society is about how people fought against a problem and about how they put an end to the problem. That is story. And in today's class, I'm going to tell you one of the finest stories, and the stories of how the farmers of India under British rule got over their problem. And what was the problem? The name, the name given to the story, understood, is Indigo. Though it is a biographical, sketch, it's by an American journalist, Louis Fischer. This story or this story of exploitation of the peasants or farmers of Bihar under British India, okay, and it talks about how the farmers got freedom, about how they felt free from the exploitation of the British landlords or the zamindars in India under British rule. Okay, now the story is very clear. And before I start this story, I would like you to listen to something very important, and you may call it a poem. The poem that I want to tell you or I want to recite, maybe I've not yet written, but it's just an imagination. Safety, where are you looking for it? Is it in the book that you read? Or is it somewhere in the society that you live in? No, never. It is in what you do and it is in what you are. If today is the day on which you have decided to write the history that the new to come will see, and to be who and to do what they are inspired. So today is the day of not only your beginning, it's beginning for the tomorrow to come. Think before whatever you do. It's because you are not men, you are not people, you are not human beings, you are not ordinary living beings. You are the sons of God that inhabit the world, the beautiful earth we see. So, the poem that I have just recited talks to us that it's in the work that we live, not only for the people to remember, for those who come after you, for those who you call tomorrow or the future generation. It's your work that makes the beautiful art a heaven to live in. Provided what you do today is something that tomorrow will remember. So do not let a second of your life go waste. Okay? So The story Indigo by Louis Fischer tells us what is indigo. First, look at the meaning of the word indigo. Indigo is blue dye. Where do we get it from? We get it from a plant called indigo. Is that clear? And that plant was valuable. Why? Because indigo was needed at least for giving or adding the color blue. Okay, to look the white dresses that we wore during the time under British rule or in the world wherever the British lived. They needed indigo for it added to the brightness, understood by giving it the bluish, you know, color. Traces or to add the beauty and to add to the beauty of the white color of the white dresses that people wore during British rule in India. Is that clear? And not only British rule for the people all over the world. So it was on demand. Something that is on demand will make the people to attempt something that we call unacceptable. So what was income? What was a gift? What was good to the businessman was not good, was harm to the farmers of Champaran in Bihar. Champaran is famous today. It is because it is about the exploitation of the farmers of the place called Champaran in Bihar. Is that clear? And where is it? It is in the Muzaffarnagar district of Bihar. So, you know what happened in the story? What happened? As blue dye that the English during British English landlords during British rule in India decided to make the farmers of Bihar cultivate, at least to do the cultivation of dye, indigo, clear, on 15% of their land. To do that, they signed a contract. They signed a contract with the peasants, and the peasants in those days were poor people, illiterate. They didn't have education, proper education. Naturally, when they were offered to do the cultivation of indigo on 15% of their land, they didn't disagree, and besides, going against the British under British rule in India was beyond their imagination. So they were left with no alternative except to accept their demands, the contract that they made them sign. So the plan that was not good and that were not acceptable or useful for the people had to be cultivated on 15% of the land on 15% of the farmers' land in those days. They had to do that. They couldn't say no. Saying no would have put their life in trouble. And who wants to be put into trouble? Do you want? No. Nobody wants. Everybody wants to feel safe and secure if you are a human being. We all, during our journey of life, are running for safety and security. And most of the people in the world, in the modern world, if you look at the modern world, most of the people are running after safety and security. And they also look for get rich quick method. Even without working even without doing anything. If they get the what rich quit method and to be rich, they are ready to do anything. If it involves selling their dignity, they don't think of who will think of what they are doing. And they don't like to, you know, listen to anybody just to make their dreams come true. And to make their dreams come true, they can do anything. And you can't advise them. However hard you may try, they won't listen. They wouldn't listen. This is life. And those who indulge in things like that get punished sooner or later. Because, believe it or not, we live in our deeds, in the good actions that we do. If you think that nobody is saying I'm doing this harm, and I have kept it hidden, and if you have done something wrong, and if you think that, okay, fine, nobody has seen me doing it, fine, I am very happy. And I'm happy because I got what I wanted and nobody has seen it. No. I read Bhagavad Gita every morning. And I know what it means reading. What reading Bhagavad Gita means. Everything, either tiny or the big one, we do. We are under eye of somebody seeing us. We are under watchful, eye. We are under watch. Somebody is watching us. Somebody has kept watch on us. How can you deny, the presence of someone who tells you, we call it conscience. At the end of the day, if you have done something wrong, somebody from inside is telling, what you have done was wrong. Who is it? Our conscience? It will eat you off every night and every day. If you are really a human being, if you are an animal, that is a separate issue altogether. You get it? Now my question is, the farmers began to feel unhappy because the portion of land that they used for the cultivation of indigo was not fit to do it again. This is how the fertility of the land was lost gradually. And the plight of the farmer was unbearable or miserable. They couldn't stand it. But they couldn't say anything because the British ruled us. And during British rule, nobody, not to speak of farmers, we cannot imagine saying anything that hurts the feelings of our rulers. It was not acceptable at all. Do you understand? Now, every problem has an end. The end may either be put to by God or by someone who we call the representative of God. That is exactly what happened. There was a farmer in the Champaran, and his name was Rajkumar Shukla. Rajkumar Shukla was one of the peasants. He was not educated. He didn't have proper education. But he was a man who understood the value of persistence. It was during Lucknow session of Indian National Congress where he came across or met Gandhi. He requested Gandhi, sir, you come to see the plight of the farmers, please, please come and see what is happening to the farmers of Champaran. They are dying. Please put an end to the exploitation. Gandhi was very busy. He came from South Africa. He was a lawyer by profession. As he was a lawyer, naturally, he was different from the ordinary Indians. He fought many cases against the white in South Africa, and he knew who the whites were, and how to handle them. And that was why he listened to the problems from Rajkumar Shukla. He wanted him to describe or explain the problems of the farmers to him. After Gandhi listened to their problems, he decided, though he had many prior engagements, as he was a very important figure in India during British rule, as he had played an important role in the freedom movement of India, naturally he was a busy man. And making him come to a place where a ordinary farmer like Rajkumar Shukla wanted was not possible. But Gandhi decided to give importance to his repeated pleas. He said, okay, Mr. Shukla, I'm going to come. Under tremendous pressure. And he came to Patna in Bihar. Patna, the capital of Bihar. Rajkumar Shukla took him from Patna to Muzaffarpur. And from there he took him to Champaran. Gandhi was very, very difficult person to handle. And that was why, as a lawyer, he knew how to understand a problem and how the solution to that problem can be achieved. And that was why the first thing he did in Champaran was he saw the pathetic condition of the farmers. Then he told them to explain their problems. He saw, he listened to the problems, he tried to understand the problems before he acted. And when he gave the matter a patient hearing, the picture was clear. He decided to protest against the exploitation of the innocent farmers in the hands of the British landlords. But his visit to that place, Champaran, angered the British. The British said, Gandhi, please leave Champaran. Please leave Champaran. Gandhi used civil disobedience, and to do that, he just refused to obey unjust order. When he refused to obey the unjust order, this angered the British. The British said, okay, fine, if you do not leave Champaran, you can do that. Then they moved the court. Gandhiji took it off with the judges, British judges, and made everything very clear. The condition of the poor farmers worsened when synthetic dye began to be used. After the discovery of synthetic dye. And the synthetic dye was much better than the dye that people got from the cultivation of indigo. When the landlords found that people don't need the natural indigo, clear, then they understood that they have to stop the cultivation of indigo. Now what will they do? They are now wanting the farmers, the exploited farmers, to give them compensations. Can you believe it? Is giving compensation possible to the exploited farmers? The cultivation of indigo made the life of the exploited farmers of Champaran worse. Now they cannot find easy to stand up on their own feet. And whereas you are now asking for compensations from the exploited farmers. So asking for compensation from the exploited farmers was wrong, isn't it? The English landlords should give them compensation. And this is what Gandhi fought in the court of law. Gandhi proved the landlords wrong in the court of law. What he said was, you felt free to exploit them. You felt free to make them cultivate indigo on 15% of their land, and the land that they used for cultivation of indigo was not fit to cultivate any crops again. Because the cultivation of indigo damages the land that you use for cultivation of the indigo. As the land that they use for the cultivation of indigo lost, the soil of the land that they used for cultivation of indigo lost fertility. Naturally, it was a huge loss to the farmer. So, instead of asking for compensation from leaving the contract, you have to pay compensation to the exploited farmers. And then the compensation that Gandhiji asked for from the landlords was given. The British had to give 25% compensation. 25% refund. Is that clear? But to the Indians, it was, maybe it looked a mere thing. But what Gandhi did was a thing to feel. It was a protest that gave birth to the freedom of fear in the exploited farmers. The day on which the court case was going on, all the exploited farmers of Champaran gathered around the court. Why? The farmers who were afraid of the British and the British rule gathered around the courts. Why? How did those innocent, illiterate people do that? Who actually made them do it? Doesn't it mean that they had killed the fear? And the man behind the death of their fear was none other than Gandhiji. Gandhiji made their fear go away. Isn't it? Why? It was because Gandhi took it off non-violently. And that is called civil disobedience. I will refuse to obey unjust order without violence. This is why the British government had to accept the mistakes of the British landlords, and they made them give 25% compensation or refund, isn't it? And that's how it was freedom from pain. It was, we cannot say it was freedom from pain, exploitation. It was also freedom from fear. And this also helped Indians to get over fear. This is how Indians also, not only the exploited farmers of Champaran won the battle against British. It was the defeat of the beast called fear in the people under British rule. This inspired the freedom fighters in the country to kill the fear in them. And that's how the entire India got together to protest against injustices of different forms. They fought different forms of injustice in India. This is how the great men work. What the great men do become a lesson for us to follow. It is not the great men who we remember. It is the great action that they leave make them remember. This is why in the beginning of the class I said, do something that make you remember, that make the people in this world remember you long after you leave this world. So, you are not doing a good action. You are leaving. Through the good action that you do, you are leaving a story for the new to come, to listen to feel inspired, to get over the problems that they will face at every stage of their life. With this, I come to the end of this class. If you think that you benefited from my lecture on the topic Indigo by Lewis Fischer, please give me at least one like. Besides, the name of my YouTube channel is Indian English with Tanmay. If you think that my channel can benefit, understood, you also can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Indian English with Tanmay. Bye. How was the lecture?